The Galactic Empire had conquered 100 worlds before even acknowledging Earth's existence. When they finally turned their gaze toward the blue planet, it wasn't with respect or concern, just mild curiosity. Humanity was primitive by their standards, barely a step above the pre-spaceflight civilizations they had enslaved before. Their military was laughable, relying on outdated projectile weapons rather than energy-based warfare. When the invasion began, it wasn't a battle, it was an execution. Orbital bombardments reduced major cities to smoldering wastelands before Earth's forces could even scramble. Armored dropships rained down from the sky, unleashing legions of the Empire's finest shock troops, hulking warriors clad in plasma-resistant armor, wielding weapons that could disintegrate steel. Resistance was pitiful. Human aircraft were obliterated before they could even engage. Infantry formations were mowed down like wheat beneath a scythe. The generals of the Empire barely paid attention to the slaughter. It was routine, predictable. The only thing of interest was how long Earth would last before its government surrendered. They laughed when they found old ballistic weapons in military bases. Rifles, machine guns, even something as antiquated as bolt-action sniper rifles. A primitive planet clinging to its past, unaware of how useless those relics would be against modern warfare. Snipers, one alien commander sneered, tapping his clawed finger against a helmet that could withstand railgun fire. What are they going to do, poke holes in our armor? The war should have been over in weeks. And yet, something changed. It started with whispers among the lower ranks. Rumors of soldiers disappearing during routine patrols. At first, it was dismissed as desertion or simple accidents. But then they found the bodies. One by one, officers were being killed, not in battle, not by bombs, but by something silent, patient, and unseen. A clean hole punched through the visor of a battle helmet, straight between the eyes. No plasma burns, no energy residue. Just a single entry wound, fired from an unfathomable distance. The first few deaths were written off as anomalies. Malfunctions. Maybe even sabotage from within. But when the kill count reached double digits, panic began to set in. Commanders demanded answers. The security forces scoured the ruins of fallen cities, hunting for this unseen assassin. They set traps, deployed surveillance drones, and increased patrols. Nothing worked. The sniper, whoever he was, whatever he was, did not leave footprints, did not leave shell casings, did not miss. The soldiers had a name for him now. The barber Yaga. A ghost. A hunter. A nightmare whispered in hushed voices across the alien ranks. And for the first time in the Empire's long, bloody history, they felt fear. The first confirmed kill came during a routine patrol outside the ruins of what was once Washington, D.C. A high-ranking officer, encased in energy-resistant armor, was struck down without warning. The shot came from nowhere. No muzzle flash, no sound, no heat signature. Just a single, precise entry wound through the left eye socket. His escort scrambled, scanning their surroundings with infrared sensors, motion trackers, and aerial surveillance. Nothing. The sniper, if it even was a sniper, was gone. The Empire dismissed it as an outlier. A lucky shot, nothing more. Until it happened again. A second officer, this time inside a fortified outpost, was killed through a narrow observation slit. The distance was impossible. The angle, unthinkable. His guards were standing right beside him, yet none of them saw the shot. Panic rippled through the ranks. No one wanted to stand near windows. No one wanted to remove their helmets. And then, it escalated. High-value targets began dropping one by one. Not just officers, but strategists, technicians, anyone who played a role in the command structure. The kills were precise, methodical. The sniper wasn't just shooting at random, he was dismantling the invasion from the top down. The aliens had encountered resistance before. Rebels, insurgents, fighters who would rather die than kneel. But this was something else. Something cold. Something surgical. They deployed drones, sweeping the landscape with thermal imaging. They scanned every rooftop, every ruin, every possible vantage point. Nothing. The killer didn't exist. The soldiers started whispering in their own language. Some refused to leave their bases. Others refused to remove their helmets, even to eat. Officers stopped giving speeches, afraid that the mere act of stepping outside would be their last mistake. It was no longer an invasion. It was a hunt. And the barber Yaga never missed. Fear was spreading faster than the Empire could control. Entire patrols went missing, their bodies discovered hours later with identical wounds, one clean shot through the head. It didn't matter how much armor they wore, how advanced their technology was. The sniper found the weak points every time. In desperation, they pulled their officers from the front lines. No one wanted to be in command anymore. Orders were given remotely, soldiers deployed in randomized formations to avoid predictable patterns. It made no difference. The Baba Yaga adapted. A convoy carrying a key strategist was hit next. Multiple armored vehicles, reinforced with shields strong enough to repel orbital fire, were found abandoned in the middle of a war-torn street. The lead driver was shot through the visor before anyone could react. The second vehicle tried to reverse, another shot, another kill. Panic set in, and soldiers spilled out, firing blindly at buildings, at shadows, at nothing. The sniper waited. Picked them off one by one. By the time reinforcements arrived, the convoy was silent. No distress calls had been sent. No one had escaped. The message was clear, there was nowhere safe. The Empire escalated its response. They brought in battlefield scanners, thermal drones, seismic sensors that could detect movement from miles away. It was useless. The sniper was a phantom, leaving behind nothing but bodies. Then, the psychological warfare began. The Empire had always been the predator, its soldiers trained to march into battle with absolute confidence. That confidence shattered overnight. It started with small things. Helmets disappearing from storage. Ammunition crates found open, but untouched, as if someone had been watching. Soldiers began seeing shadows where none should be. They swore they heard whispers in the dark, footsteps that vanished when they turned. Then came the messages. Carved into walls. Scratched into their own armor. Written in their own language. You are prey. Entire battalions refused to leave their bunkers. Some soldiers turned their weapons on each other, convinced the sniper was among them. Others deserted, running into the wilderness, only to be found later, lifeless, a single hole through the skull. The Empire had come expecting a swift victory. Instead, they had entered a nightmare with no escape. The Baba Yaga wasn't just killing them. He was breaking them. The Empire had never known fear like this. Their soldiers were breaking, discipline collapsing faster than command could contain. Once proud warriors refused to leave their barracks, terrified of stepping into the open. Even the most hardened veterans spoke in hushed voices, their eyes darting to every shadow, every rooftop, every empty window. Reinforcements arrived, specialist hunters trained to deal with insurgents. They carried advanced tracking systems, bioscanners that could detect a heartbeat from a mile away. They moved in tight formations, scanning every possible vantage point. But the sniper was patient. He let them think they were in control. He let them believe they were closing in. And then, one of them dropped. A single shot. No sound, no warning. The remaining soldiers scattered, breaking formation, exactly as he wanted. The second shot took out the squad leader. The third severed a power pack, triggering an explosion that blinded the survivors. By the time they regained their bearings, the sniper was gone. It was no longer war. It was extermination. Desperation led to recklessness. The Empire began flattening entire city blocks, detonating buildings just to eliminate possible sniper nests. Thousands of their own supplies were lost in the process. They deployed plasma bombardments on empty streets, wasting energy reserves. Their fear was costing them the war. Then came the final insult. The Empire's high command received a transmission. No visuals, no audio, just coordinates. Confused, they checked the location. It was the heart of their command center, deep within their strongest fortress. Panic erupted. Had the sniper infiltrated their last stronghold? They searched the coordinates, scanning for explosives, for hidden traps. Nothing. Then, one officer saw it, on the wall, carved deep into the reinforced plating. A single phrase. I was here. It was over. The officers abandoned their posts. The Empire, which had never retreated from a conquered world, began pulling its forces back. It wasn't worth it. No planet was worth this. The Baba Yaga had done what no fleet, no army, no weapon had ever accomplished. He had made them afraid to fight.